which ad strategy is right for you if you're looking to get clients for your beauty business. If you've ever thought about running ads to get clients for either your beauty business or med spa or fine line tattoo studio, but you didn't actually know which one made sense for where you're at right now, then this video hopefully is going to save you time and money and a lot of second guessing. Because whether you are doing permanent makeup or brows or laser or skincare or tattoos or injectables, there's no one size fits all strategy. And for sure, you could post more and hope or boost a reel and cross your fingers. But I'm going to walk you through 3 core ad strategies that I run with over 40 different business owners across many different services and try to help you pick the one that fits your business right now. I'm Melissa Cutler, and since 2020, I've spent over $800,000 on ads, and I've helped over 40 beauty pros across permanent makeup, laser, skincare, Botox, fine line tattoos, and learn Meta, Instagram, and Facebook ads. And I'm still in it, and I still test this stuff on myself too. So what I'm sharing today is these 3 core ad strategies, and I'll show you absolutely real ad examples with the visual and the caption for a variety of beauty sources and price points. And I'll go over what kind of results that they got and what kind of trade-offs you need to be ready for each strategy. So then that way, hopefully at the end, you can pick out which one might be best for your situation right now. All right, let's get into it. So the 3 core ad strategies are: first, the model cash flow ad strategy; the second, the discount or promo ad strategy; and the third, the full price ad strategy. So let's break them down, each with examples as well as the benefits and trade-offs, meaning the things that you might not like or the things that you might need in order to make this ad strategy successful. So number 1, the model or cash flow ad strategy. So this one I call AKA I need bookings now. So if you're in the place where you just need people in the door, like this month, in order to make rent and pay your bills, then this is usually the one that I recommend starting with. So in this case, you're not worried about building like the perfect brand right now. You want proof, you want results, you want momentum, and you want cash flow now. So when I first ran these model ads for my own business in December of 2023, when my income stopped all of a sudden, I was not trying to like scale or go big. I was literally just trying to survive. And I did not want to price low forever, but I knew if I could get like 5 or 10 clients and get photos and testimonials or more and the cash flow I needed, then I could build up enough to charge higher prices eventually, which is what happened. And now this is like my go-to approach that I've done with a lot of the beauty service professional people that I help, because to me, it's the fastest and the lowest risk way to run ads to end whatever cold streak you're in with the least amount of ad spend. So let's talk benefits and trade-offs. So for the model cash flow strategy, one of the best things is it's very, very fast to test and very cheap. It's only $5 a day, and we can get in leads the way I do it for $1 to $1.50. So if you're spending $500 a day or $5 a day, it's 150 leads a month. This, though, I do run it as a DM post-click funnel, which means that when I make my ad, I make it to the engagement campaign, not leads campaign, that'll be more expensive, but engagement campaign, and send people to my DMs. I don't send them to my profile, and I don't send them to a website. That's how I run it. And how we run it to not like devalue the brand and be like 50% off everywhere is I do not list price or a discount in the ad itself when I first run it, but I do position it as like a limited time model spot for content, portfolio updating, website updating, new service, or shooting training videos if you're getting into training. I like that you can close people in the DMs and not have consult calls, because this makes it really fast and easy. You can save like a script to DM saved replies or Meta saved replies in the Meta Business Suite, and then go boom, 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 because you're messaging with a lot of people. What I also like is that you get a lot of feedback really fast. So you can keep lowering your lead costs by testing like new images or new different formats like a video. Although I do find images just really work even better than video in probably all the different tests of this I've run so far. Not saying video won't do better, but so far images are doing great. And you can also do things to this to increase lead interest, like adding certain things into the primary text, which is the ad caption or the headline, or into the visual itself, in order to increase the quality. And there are other things that we do to convert these leads beyond the ad itself, which I'll go into in a second. But it's not all upside and sunshines and rainbows. There are trade-offs, or maybe kind of some things that you might not like. So let's go through those. You will get a lot more leads and overall clients for what you're spending but do expect ghosting, pricing objections, and I need to think about responses, and even like, and very much so, like, I thought this was free, or you should pay me. Like, that is all normal when you run this strategy, because if you get 150 leads, you convert 15 clients, you're still getting 135 no's or hell no's. The second trade-off is the way I have tested it, at least the way that it works the best is when we do a 50% off strategy, but we don't list it I don't like usually listing it in the ad right off the bat. I want to get a baseline of like what's coming in, because those will be the cheapest leads. And we also don't want to like devalue your brand and run a 50% off ad for a very long time, but we can list it in the ad, and that can change the people coming into the DMs, and you do less messaging and more converting. There's just trade-offs, but that is a strategy decision that can be tested. And then the last trade-off is, okay, if your feed is like meh, if you haven't posted in a really long time, if your captions are basic and you're not so great in the DMs, then it's not going to work really well for you, because the content feed and the captions, surprisingly, you may or may not have heard me talk about that before, but the copywriting in the captions and your skills in the DMs, maybe what our script is, what the languages we use, how friendly, how welcoming, the things we ask of them in the DMs are major factors, which is why I like getting the leads in really cheap right away, so we can test this. Like 1 week we test something, 2 weeks we would test something else in the content or in the DMs, and I'll usually focus on the DMs first. But even if they're not like perfect yet, I do see that like, okay, with 6 posts that are good in the sense of like they display your work, it's clearly focused on like the ad that you're running. Like you're not running a laser ad and everything on your feed is Botox or vice versa. And it looks like you're doing that service as a dominant service. And in the captions, you're building up desire, overcoming objections and concerns and fears, and doing a lot of pre-selling. Then the DMs go smoother. And then of course in the DMs, we can't just be robot DM all the time, although that has worked. It does seem to be better when we can be a little bit more fluid. And so when you're more skillful at communicating in the DMs, then your results do go up. So there is some variance, but I like this because you get so many people that even if you converted like 5% of math of 100 leads, you're still getting 5 clients. And that might be better than what you did last month. A lot of people are like, I only got 2 clients or no clients last month. This would be still a leg up. And then we continue to make it better and better, because you get a lot of leads through the door to do a lot of testing. Now, this is a cash flow strategy, something that gets quick wins, but if it does well, if you do it right, then it can give you significant financial reward. Like I'll show you somebody right now. So for example, this is like right there, the blue one, a model campaign. I'm gonna click around here, 734 leads since January. Average cost per result, 97 cents that whole time. And here's what they look like. So this one that got 306 leads for 90 cents. Let's just take a look at that. Zoom in. So it's very simple. I do a full face photo, logo in the corner, brow tattoo models wanted, micro needling models wanted, laser tattoo models wanted. It's all the same. And this is the main ad copy that I run. And then from here, I run different variations to increase the lead quality. But this is like my baseline because it gets really cheap leads. And that's the text. And then this is the headline. And then I always use learn more as the call to action, like the link button text that is there, because you get a lot more leads that way as opposed to send message, even though you're like, well, of course I want them to send me a message. It works better, in my experience, if you do learn more. So that's the ad. Now in her first month, this is her tracking sheet. All the greens are bookings. From January 23rd to the 29th, 6 days, 1 to 7 bookings. 8 on January 22nd. And then 9, 10 until the 30th. And then we had an arrangement where I was testing stuff. So I was like, here, let me make 9 posts for you. And I made 9 posts. She put them up on her feed, and then we launched the ads. And then this is week 1. She made her next 9 pieces of content and she started posting them. We actually didn't have these 2 green lines. It was actually empty. And she was like, hey, I haven't booked anybody in like a week. February 1st to the 11th. She didn't book anybody. We figured out, this was back in February, we figured out that in the posts on the wall, in the captions, if you do what I call like a pains and desires caption, story for another day, but if we switched to doing mostly those, and then her bookings returned really quickly. And that was a really cool thing that we found through testing that I didn't know before was such an important thing. And now we validated that, which is super cool. And then after she posted those, she actually then got these 2 bookings, and then they started to return. And then we had a gap here. This is actually only 3 days, so it looks like a big gap, but it's not. And ever since then, until she stopped tracking because she was getting so many leads, she was doing well. And now I just said, you don't need to track anymore because I think we're just okay there. So in that month, she got 125 leads and she spent $64.55, which is really low. I don't know how that happened, but that is right. And then she booked 23 clients. 23 clients, which is like insanely, like this is the best launch we ever had. That's why I wanted to show it to you. But I want to show you a more kind of different, realistic one with a different service. Okay, so this one was a laser ad. We launched 1, 2, 3 visuals in the same campaign. So we had a before and after here. Laser, you see the same format and same text and basically same headline, all same. So there was that one, this one, and that one did the best. This one did not the best, but we were testing a man and a different skin type. And then this one didn't take off. This was a leg. So the top one performed the best, but all of them had the same caption just so we could test which visual. So in a week that brought in 34 leads and they were $1.11 each. And she got a ton of ghosting, a ton of pricing objections, except she got 2 people to convert for her full body $149 special. But the best part was she booked a $1,000 package and cash collected and a mini package of $600 cash collected in that first week. So she was like, she joined a week later into a group call I was running with my ads mentorship and community members. And like, I have problems. And I was like, okay, let's go through your numbers. And I was like, you closed like 1850 in 7 days. Like, okay, sure. You got like mostly pricing objections, but return on ad spend is like, and at the end of the day, like the thing that matters most. But she did continue to experience. So she spent $40 on that and cash collected $18.50, but she did book more clients. We just got a lot of no-shows because people didn't want to pay deposits. And she also did get a lot of people saying like, hey, like you should pay me as the model or this should be free. So she wanted to tweak it we wanted to make some tweaks, and that's what we're testing now. Is this went well, but the caveat is she has to rent her laser machine. So by the hour with the no-shows, it's a risky ad to run unless you own your machine. And she would rent like Soprano or Diode or NDAG depending on what client she was getting. And so that was kind of a lot. So she actually launched her own Botox ad on her own. And she made it herself. We didn't even collaborate on it. So she made these on her own without my help. So that's one. She did use the same text, 10 spots available. So she made this one and like even the letters are cut off and it still did okay. And we had this one that she made as like a flyer. And then we had this last one that she made with the package. That one did the worst. You see that one with the package listed. It had cost per lead for $8.70. And the one that got her the most leads brought her in leads for $1.42. And that was like the peach one there. And then the middle one brought in leads for $1.88. 21 leads total. Now, she only converted one client. However, that client was worth $750. I was not mad. So I think she only spent, what did she spend? She spent $40 and she got a $750 client. We didn't even collaborate at all on that one. So now we're actually running a new one with the price in it. So that way we're getting people who are aware of the price before they get into the DMs and running that as her next test. So I just want to highlight some of the extremes that you could expect with the model cash flow strategy. So best case, worst case scenarios. So worst case, you spend like $50 to $100 for like 2 or 3 weeks. You get a few bookings, but you do get mostly leads that ghost or give you a pricing objection. But you start to learn quickly and cheaply what is not working, whether it's with your DMs, your feed, or your ad itself, and then you can make tweaks. That's still better than, I think, waiting like 3 weeks and posting organically and hoping something happens. I don't know. I'm just not an organic content player. I like ads because it's like fast cash, and I like doing low budgets a lot. Like I really only start at $5 to $10 a day. I don't usually start at $20 a day unless I'm doing something special. But for most bringing in clients, I only start at $5, $10 a day. But the best case, you get 8 to 15 clients, or as good as that one person did, 23. And I think at like the most common range is like anywhere from like 4 to 8 when you're just like dabbling, doing stuff on your own. But when I really get hands-on with people in my mentorship on our calls, that's when we can get like the 15 and the 20. And some really surprising cool things was Fine Line Tattoo. We ran a model call and she was converting about 50% of the leads and getting cheap leads. So that was a really good win. Paramedical inkless stretch mark revision is another good one because the model price is $200 and it only takes you an hour to do like that section for what we're running it for. So that's another really good one to run. But all of these are going to require tweaking ongoing anyway. This is just a really cheap strategy to get launched with. And really the only thing you have to test in the ads itself is the pictures. And then you can work on the content part, and you can work on the DM part slowly and safely without wasting ad spend. Okay, so the next one we're going to look at is the discount promo ads strategy. To me, I think this is best suited for people who have already gotten a few clients under your belt, whether from the model ad strategy or from another source, or you've been in business for a while and you have a lot of content, a lot of photos, a lot of proof, more reviews and stuff, then I think you're ready for this. And also if you're not in emergency cash flow mode, meaning like you don't need like $2,000 tomorrow, but you'd love some momentum. You're like, cool, it'd be cool starting with like $500 in my first month, $1,000. It can go better than that. I'm just setting like realistic expectations in case it goes okay and not amazing. Now, compared to the model strategy, you're going to get less leads and they're going to be more expensive. So if models were $1, your discount promo ads leads may be anywhere from $250 to $650 per lead. But there is a benefit, not always on the first go, but this ad can convert 50% of the leads in the example that I'm going to show you after with a skincare ad, but it has to have the right setup. And there's some things that she did in advance. But if you are willing to spend a little bit more in order to get qualified leads, like meaning like people not being like, I thought this was free or you should pay me, and your content and DMs is halfway decent, not perfect, but halfway decent, then I like this strategy for building up to consistent bookings. Okay, but here is the honest part because I want to be realistic. Most of the people that I've seen succeed with this strategy right off the bat really, really well, get the 50% conversions from their ads leads and get cheaper leads at like $2.50. They usually started with the model strategy first. Why? Well, because it taught them things that worked in their content, in their DMs, the photos, the formats, the ad, and they had some practice and experience to get these right the first time. Because the ad itself doesn't do all of the heavy lifting, although it can, meaning it can bring in like interested leads. But it's not guaranteed clients. It does filter in the right type of people when done strategically, but it could also filter in the wrong people to your page. Once you bring in the right people, then your content can help overcome objections and fears and make them value it more, make them feel like, yes, this is for me. This person is for me. I love her approach. Other things. And then the offer also has a lot to play. So I'll go over like the offer. In this skincare example, I'll show you it was micro needling special plus free chemical peel. And that was like the bonus. Altogether, it's an offer. Micro needling plus free peel. We packaged it so the cost made sense, but we marketed it as free peel. And then your DM messaging strategy and your non-salesy sales skills, that's all needed too in order to book them. You do want to budget $10 a day, not $5 a day, because the lead costs are higher. And your target for what you want for your cost per lead or cost per result target would be between $2.50 and $3.75, but more can work too. But if you can get them down that low, it can be a huge return on your ad spend. And even if only like a 10th of them or 10% of them actually book in with you. So like for reference, if you spent $300 and you did get your cost per lead down as low as I said, that would be 8 to 12 clients, even if you did okay in the DMs, only better over time. So let's go through some benefits and trade-offs. Benefit number one, your leads can be more qualified. I say can, because I have seen these ads convert up to 50% of those leads into bookings, which I will show you, when the content and DMs are dialed in. And as long as you can get that cost per lead low enough, then this can work well right off the bat. Benefit number two is you get fewer leads, so you do a lot less messaging. Messaging can really get tiring when you're messaging with like 100 to 150 leads a month and getting nowhere. Formula for burnout and hating it. So when you get fewer leads, you can be more energized to message with them, and you can continue to working to get a higher conversion rate. And then it's a good opportunity to test what kind of benefits and problems work best. So in your ad, if we're doing skincare, for example, we could describe the end result as being youthful and feminine, turn back time, whatever. Or you can compare that to tight and firm. You can do that in headlines, you can do that in the text, you could do that in the visuals. So you can learn what kind of language works best, which then you take those winning languages and you make content about it because you know it works. Instagram organic, like posting on Instagram is not going to tell you that data, but ads will. And that's what I use. I use data in order to inform even videos like this, different data from different places, but data-driven content. is what it helps with, which then converts more clients. Okay, so now let's go through some of the trade-offs because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So with the discount and promo ads, like we said, expect higher cost per lead than model ads. So I have some ranges. Good or great would be between $2.50 and $3.75 per lead. Okay, and still workable right off the bat is $4 to $5, and something that you probably want to get down is when it's above $6. These are rough costs. Like an extreme example of like a high cost per lead, like let's say your cost per lead is $15 per lead. Oh my God, terrible. But every single, like 100% of those leads become a client. That's not a bad scenario. It's just really difficult to tell because $15 lead, you're only getting a lead every other day. And it's just going to take you a while to figure out what's working. I like to get the cost per lead down first and then focus on the quality of the lead. And then this, as a trade-off, it does require a stronger support system. By support system, I mean like the ad is where somebody clicks. Once they click, they go to your DMs if you're leading them to the DMs, which is what I would recommend at the beginning. More on campaign options in another video for another day. This is just talking about the DMs. It's still doable, but you will need to have at least halfway decent content, relevant content on your feed high up. Like you're running a Botox ad, you want at least 3 of your top 6 to be Botox relevant, ideally before and afters. And images are fine. You don't need to be like an expert at Reels with this. Same with the model strategy. Images are all fine. You do not need to do video content at those. Full price, different story. And also because certain price amounts, like you could do a discount ad and it costs $50. You could still do a discount ad, but if your full price is $1,200 and your discount is $600, you're going to have to do a lot more work. In general, the lower the cost of the service, the less work you're going to have to do. And then in general, certain services, like let's say it is a fine line tattoo, it's going to need a consultation, but you could do the consultation in the DMs for this. They're not just going to be like, I want tattoo, show up. Give me tattoo. At least that's not how I would buy a tattoo. And then lastly, if you have not yet tested your content or your DMs like you would have in the model strategy, it just might be a slower start. But if you have been in business for a long time and you know how to DM and you know how to do content, then you could do really well right off the bat. Just in general, just expect to test and refine no matter where your starting point. So the whole point of the strategy is that we use the discount ad with a sale and a regular price listed in the visual. I'll show you in a sec, in order to filter in the right type of people. And then once you bring those people in, we work to continue to increase bookings, not necessarily by touching the ad, but by making the rest of your ecosystem. Like when they come in, then you also have content, DMs, like what your website, your whole marketing digital presence ecosystem. But I primarily focus on the content and DMs first to overcome objections in advance, increase their desire. And then I like to test week over week or for a batch of 30 to 40 leads one way, and then 30 to 40 leads test another way, and that's like A/B testing, and whatever way works, I continue on to the next round, and it's like rounds of testing. Let's show you someone's ads. Okay, so I'm gonna draw your attention to this ad right there, skincare. It says model, it's not a model. Starting on March 25th, and right now it's June 15th. So in that time, 129 leads and $3.14 per lead for the whole campaign. When I click on this campaign, I can go to the ads level and we can look at the ads that are running. So it looks like the top ads right here, sort amount spent. So the highest ad up here, Flyer 3 Beauty, brought in 51 leads for $3.56 each. This girl says that she's been converting 40 to 50% of these leads. That's awesome. To have one lead come in and then the next come in and every other lead you book a client. That just feels really good. So her current offer is micro needling plus a free chemical peel for $150, regularly $300. And she's newer into the aesthetics industry, and this would be her first time getting microneedling clients. We didn't even start with a model ad because she did model lip blush ads. Realized that she's like, I'm not super happy doing lip blush. And that's another thing you can find out is you're like, I'm so gung-ho on lip blush. And then you do a couple clients and you're like, I want something way less stressful, which microneedling is. So here is the ad. Oh, there is the ad copy. Oh, there you go. Just to zoom in, and limited time microneedling offer, and then the rest of our headline got cut off. So that's the full ad. I could go into expansion on that ad and what we tested another day. Here is, I know, this is a beauty ad set and this is a broad ad set. So that just means broad is any woman between 18 and 64 years old in my location, that's a woman. The beauty indicator is at the ad set level, and that's when we have gone into the audience. And you can see we're spending we're only spending $5 a day on these ads, $2.50 there on this one, and people who match all these interests: cosmetics, beauty, Sephora, beauty salons, eyeliner, blah, 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 blah. I'll leave that up there for a second. Ages 25 to 60. We set the age more broad because more often, like, people with skincare problems will come get this, but people with acne scarring might be 25 too. And we kind of let Meta pick in between there. I like to start off with something broad in terms of like an age range, and we're just targeting women. And so those were actually the same, but I'll show you what her other one that is working as well. That is just a different picture. It's more of like smoothing after acne scarring, whereas the other one was definitely lining up a bit more with the text. It was tighter, firmer, glowing skin. This is tighter, firmer, glowing skin, but with a more acne prone type of before and after. And I do really like this visual that we did with the gold thing in the middle. And I know it looked like an ad, and some people are like, oh, I don't want my ads to look like ads. It's testing. And so it's testing. So you can test different visuals, like ads that look like ads against ads that don't look like ads, and see what happens. And so I wanted to show you her content. Like, this is her content. It's like she has now done this lip blush a long time ago, and that's the lip blush one. And she actually did 1, 2, 3 lip blush, and now she has 1, 2, 3 chemical peel, and then 1, 2, 3 skincare, micro needling. And we had worked on her content for 5 months before we went into this. So we already had I mentored her for 5 months on content, including the captions. You can see that there's a mixture of like reels, as well as carousels, as well as like before and afters on her feed. And we did struggle a long time ago. We had a lot of clients, you know how I showed you with the other person, where she posted her own content and she had drop off. This person went through the same thing with her lip blush. She would have like lip blush clients booking in, and then no lip blush clients booking in. And then we'd update her content, and then they'd come back in. And then she posts something else, and she did a bunch of holiday stuff, and then everything tanked again. So we got back in sync. We made this, and I don't think she's posted. Okay, this one right here was posted, this lip one was posted on February 27th. Since February 27th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 posts. And that's why I love ads. You don't have to spin your wheels making content. You have to make the right type of content. You have to be good at some things about content, but you do not have to spin your wheels making content every day. But she is spending her time in the DMs. But even like in 1 month, or like even since March, and it's now June, like she got however many, that was like 120 something leads. So it's not that bad compared to, she used to get like 150 lip blush leads a month and book like 5 of them. And now she's booking half of the, it's just a much better mindset to do. Plus, I want to also kind of take a second, talk about her per hour rates. So lip blush, I did a thing for myself, and I was doing microblading for $6.50. But by the time you factor in the initial, the touch up, the rent, the product and everything, I was making $65 an hour. And that might sound great. That's not enough for me. I want more. This girl, she's doing a promo ad for microneedling and chemical peel bonus. It takes her an hour to perform, and she makes $150 per hour. Like, lawyers don't even make that. Another good example is a person that I'm helping who's doing paramedical. English stretch mark revision is what we're starting with, because she's new to it. There's no color matching. It's basically microneedling for the body, and like very foolproof. Like, not too much can go wrong. It's just about how effective the results are. But the model price is $200, and it takes her an hour, because regular price for like a small area is $750. So we are marketing a 75% off discount model strategy, $200, and we're doing model to start, but we could very easily upgrade to a discount ad very, very soon and convert more people. We're just doing a lot of testing first. And I think in her first like week and a half, she booked like 3 clients, and I think it was starting at 200. I think it was around 700 or 800 she put in her books within a week and a half, and we just started. And that was with like making a script for her, following the script, and just testing that. We still have yet to improve. And we're meeting again tomorrow for one of her one-on-one calls. So more updates coming. So like my biggest step in running a discount ad is I would start with the lowest discount you're willing to go, launch with that, run it for a week, see what happens. And then if you get lots of clients, great. Take down the ad, up the price by a little bit, like not so much that it's going to kill the client conversion rate, but more. And then run that for a week and then do that again. I'd rather slowly increase rather than going from 100 to 500 and then killing all the cash flow and not being able to learn from it. So while we might want to market certain services, one mindset I think of is like, how much am I making per hour with what service, how easy it is to perform, and also like how saturated is it, like with people marketing it. I've been in the beauty industry for 12 years. My first launch into meta ads for myself has been permanent makeup, so it's my most experienced. But from that and testing skincare, Botox, laser, fine line tattoos, it's kind of the most saturated. And and lashes too. Eyelash extensions are very saturated too, from what I found. So easier ones to kind of get quick wins with have been the skincare and the laser and the Botox and the fine line tattoos and English stretch mark revision. Those ones have been easier so far. More to test as I grow as well as I grow. And that brings me to the last strategy, which is the full price ads, AKA I don't come from the charge what you're worth mentality. I have data-driven decisions that allow me to charge as much as I want or as much as I can for the highest volume I can. So I want the most amount of clients for the highest price, not what is the most amount of money I charge. It's more about something called pricing equilibrium. So it's like, if you think about it again, what's the maximum return on ad spend or maximum dollar per hour that you're making? Because sometimes, let's say if you are charging $1,500 for something, but it costs you $1,500 to acquire that client in ad spend, like you spend $1,500 and you get one $1,500 client, you're netting $0. So that is not even though you're charging the most, your per hour and your return on ad spend is the worst versus like, okay, like maybe you really want to charge $800, but if you charge $550, you'd actually make like $3,000 more for the same amount of ad spend. Your choice. That's how I think about it. And that would be full price. So that's why this particular strategy is not for everybody, but it is for you if you've got some content up and a service that you want to charge more for. And if you're willing to play the longer game, meaning you do not need cash flow right now and you can afford to spend $300 a month for like 3 months and maybe get no clients at all in order to get this data. And we do see, I want to show you an example of somebody who did make $7,000 in her first month, but what did she already have in place that allowed her to do this? So if you're not desperate for bookings like today, but you are ready to test full price and you want to do it with intention and integrity, bring in like the right kind of clients, not like, not those clients, the ideal clients. And you're curious about what kind of messaging can bring in those high quality clients. And if you're willing to look at some numbers and some metrics without pulling your hair out, and this might be for you. I do want to say up front, this is the hardest one to get right, and I'll tell you why. It's not necessarily because the ad itself is hard, although it kind of is, but full price ads, they don't come with training wheels. You don't get to lean on urgency necessarily or a discount. And you're asking someone to pay premium rates and they're cold. Like, you are a stranger. This is an ad. This is sketchy. Like, it takes more than a good photo and a few nice words to convert these people. But one of the best examples that I've seen work was and is an ads community member of mine where she's going through the year-long mentorship. She's super smart in business. I actually knew about her for 7 years, and we talked like 7 years ago. We were in the same training program for permanent makeup, but she does other services too. And she mentors inside of one of the most well-known marketing programs and one of the most expensive that are out there right now. And she was already doing 9 things out of 10 right herself. She just didn't know how to run her own ads. And that's what she came to learn. We spent a week and I got a bunch of information for her. And I spent about a week planning, prepping the entire ads and strategy for her. And we launched it. We made 3 different versions of the ad caption, the text. We ran the same video for each of the ads tests. We tested 3 and the same headline. And so we launched that. And a month later, she said that she closed nearly $7,000 with her $300 on ad spend. She was very happy, but she was ready for something like that. That's why it went so well. She had already nailed down her branding and her client experience and her messaging and her feed. And she had a this is probably the most critical piece. She had a very strong DM and consult background already. But others, they've run full price ads and they got decent leads, like people who are interested, having a conversation with them, but they might not have had the content. But I think most importantly, they didn't have the DM skills dialed in yet, because I don't like being like super pitch hardcore salesy. I'm a bit different. I figure out how I can help solve a small problem. And so that's what the skill is that they're working on and progressing. And one girl has been running the full price ad strategy we got her on the model strategy and she's making cash flow. And now she took $300 a month to test in the full price while running the model strategy and the full price at once, because you can prevent each of those leads from seeing each other to prevent conflict. And because she's so busy with her model clients, we can't connect too frequently, but she's doing pretty good on her own and she's progressing month over month. And she got like 1 client from the full price and then 2 clients from the full price and then breaking even. And she's keeping it going and keeping learning. and she's happy with her progress, but we could get her a lot further. So it's not like the ad is flopping. It's actually the exact same ad that the $7,000 girl is running that the other girl is running that's struggling. So it's just that there's more skills involved, and that's the trade-off in this. This strategy does work, but it works best when you've either already done a model or a discount ad. So you've learned what language works, what visuals work, and you've got some experience in the DMs and content too. Or if you're prepared to treat the first few months as learning months, not as money months, and you spend $300 and make $300, or sometimes nothing. And because eventually, month over month, you do 300, then you double it, then you triple it, then you quadruple it, because you learn and you do it as you go. My business is a good example. My first month I did 1,000, second 1,000, third 3,000, fourth 3,000 again, fifth 6,000, and then I stopped and took a break, and then I made 1,000, and then I got back into it, and then I made 4,000. So it didn't like crush in the beginning, but it did well over time and continues to grow because I'm looking at the numbers. Let's go through benefits and trade-offs. Okay, so clear one for the full price benefit, you don't need to discount, but you can price test because we're not actually going to put a price in the ad with this one. So you can figure out what your best price point is going to be. Maybe you are a bit too expensive. I don't know. Maybe you're not expensive enough. I don't know. I've done a test on a website before where I increased the price by $200 and then it did convert more. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but you can test it because we're not listing a price in the ads. And then it also helps you figure out what kind of messaging and language actually moves people to buy, like defined brows versus soft brows, higher versus firmer versus youthful. Like, you get to figure that stuff out because you can test it in the headline, you can test it in the text, and the numbers in the ads do show you what does better. And then I use those things to inform my organic content. So if something does well in an ad, I will make something about it in an email. Or if something does well in an email, I will make content about it or a video about it. And you also get to figure out what visuals, what kind of like person works best, what kind of look of the work works best, whether just like you saw in skincare, even like same thing, whether acne scarring from microneedling versus tighter, firmer, and also what pains and desires, or whether what we did once is I was testing pain-based headlines like sparse brows, thin brows, whatever. Those are general, they were more specific, versus desire or want your dream brows. The desire-based headlines all perform better. Therefore, I was like, oh, I've always been doing my organic feed content with the hook of a caption being like a pain. Now, based on this ads information, I'm going to start leading in with the desire and doing it half-half. So it helps inform other choices in your business. So while you're not like maybe making a ton of money at first, you get all that information, and that is what allows you to make more money in the second month, because then the whole ecosystem, the consults language, like the benefits that you're talking about, the pains that you're talking about, you know what's landing with people, like, you know. So then you post about it. Instagram metrics don't tell you that stuff. Oh, and that brings me into that benefit right there, is it informs your entire ecosystem, like the content topics, emails, your DM scripts, and your funnels. That's exactly what I explained. And then it also does not, I love this. This is my favorite part. You don't have to post every day. Yay. You can post when you are inspired. You can post when you have something meaningful to say. You can post when you've learned something cool that worked in an ad. Like the girl that I said who made $7,000 in her first month, she only posted 6 times in 5 months, in the last 5 months. And she still brought in like the most amount of full price people. Let's go through some trade-offs. Okay, so trade-off number 1, it takes more skill. You need copywriting skills, which are basically like a fancy term for learning how to write to persuade people to buy stuff in a non-salesy way. Long story short, you need more sales skills in a non-salesy way. I don't like super pressure. I like helping people self-identify if this is right for them, overcoming their fears, objections. You need to be personal. You need some tech skills. You need some visual skills. It takes more skill. Because like with model ads, you could get like 3 out of 10 things right and you can still book. With the discount ads, maybe you can get 5 out of 10 things right and still book. But with full price ads, you need like 7 to 10 things out of 10 working together, especially with everything that happens after somebody clicks and becomes a lead. That's the most important thing. Like ads can bring in high interest leads, but your DMs can kill them, your content can kill it. So it needs to all work together. And they are higher risk. So your full price leads, they can be as low as like $2.75, but they can also be as high as $10, and both of them can convert. It's just, you don't know what you're going to get. Location is a huge thing. Competition in your region is a huge thing. How aware people are is a huge thing. So I want to kind of show to you these ads that we're running that did really, really well. So let's organize here. Oh, wow. You can even see these are full price ads, video ads. This got 90 leads for $1.70 each, and we spent $153 on that ad. All of these ads here are all the same visual. So if I show you, like, this is the ad, I made it in Canva. You can watch the video on the left. I'll zoom into the copy on the right. That's the copy number 1. So that's text number 6. So that means text number 6 has a different beginning of the primary text caption. That's what I test first. I don't test like a whole brand new primary text. I'll test that little snippet at the beginning that I'll show you. So I test, that's text 6. This is test 1. So it's, I test this beginning, like what shows before that see more. Let me click over here. I test that first. And so everything was the same except for this beginning section. The rest of it was the same. And we are running all of them. Like, we're leaving, even though this one got 352, like, one thing that she hasn't done yet is tracked what bookings came from which ad, which we can because of the way that I set it up, but she just hasn't done that yet. But she's happy. So, but if we did find out, hypothetically, let's say she got 30 clients, and you can see we have that broad versus beauty ad set again, meaning like the audience on the beauty one, we're setting those interests like cosmetics, skincare, permanent makeup, blah, 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 and broad has no interest. What if all 30 clients came from the beauty ad set? Or what if all 30 clients came from the broad? Then she could cut her ad spend in half, and instead of spending $10 a day, she could spend $5, but she would book the exact same number of clients. We can get that data. She just has to track it because she's happy with where she's at. But overall, that did really well. Now, I'll show you something that didn't go really well. We took that same ad. We launched a test for lip blush. Like, it is, let me show you. It is the same primary text. Oh, it's not going to show me. Okay, it's not going to show me the actual preview, I think, because we ran it as a time frame, but it's just like a before and after of a lip blush, fresh, with the same ad copy, but adapted for lips. So it's kind of like a template. So we almost like took that, templated it, and made a lips. Its cost per lead is $15.82 or $5. Plus, not only that, she got like the meanest comments on like, oh my gosh, I'd never do that to my lips with the fresh. Oh my God, she looks like a clown. Or how could you have done that to her? And it was so mean. So like the service and the location really matters too. Like, these are 2 different services, 2 different locations. Even though it's like the same ad, sometimes it works. Sometimes maybe we take this for a skincare ad and it does really well, but we do it for lips and it doesn't work really well. So we can't just, not always just use like a template is the thing. It needs to be made specifically for that service sometimes, and specifically for that brand, or specifically for that location, or specifically for that price point. But what we did do with this person is we did eventually switch, and we found out that healed lip blush works really well. So not before after healed, just before healed. And we're switching it from healed, which is like a permanent makeup language, to before final result. So like, we want to talk in that client language and take away our own industry jargon. So we are continuing to test with this, but she's doing a much different funnel. She's not doing the full price who made 7,000. She did a DM funnel, meaning like add DMs to consult in person to convert, versus this lip blush person is totally fine on revenue. She's doing really well. She's growing her brand long-term. So I do email funnel for my own business. It's my favorite. She wants a longer term, more hands-off way to run her business as well. So we're doing a long-term strategy. And so this lip blush person we're launching an email funnel for her. So we're still in the process of testing that. We just need to find the winning ad first. But I think moral of the story is, with full price, if you only break even, like you spend 300, make 300 in month 1, but you learn why someone clicked or why they didn't click, that is absolute gold on its own. So that's why I said, if you're okay reading some numbers and understanding just what it means, it makes the numbers like so much more fun and not like the numbers. And then month 2, your results can double. And then month 3, it can triple. Month 4, it can 5 times. And it's a growth over time. Because ads, I wish it was magic. I wish I had a magic wand, but it's not. It's math and understanding, momentum, and skill set. And you only get where you want to go if you keep going. So that's why I say, if you break even, you can just keep playing the game. You can play the game again. You can play the game again. Or if you make double in 1 month, and you can play the game 2 more months after that. So we got to keep playing the game. Okay, wrapping up. If you're still not sure which one to start with, now let's go through one of them one by one. If you need cash flow now, model strategy. If you want to test ads and make some money, but you're not like dire cash flow need, discount strategy. And if you are ready to build long-term with data and strategy and skill set, then the full price strategy. And wherever you're at, just start. And hey, if this video helped, feel free to share it with somebody in your world. Someone you went to school with, someone that you trade voice notes with on Instagram, about DM, venting, or pricing, or that one friend that you always film content with. Because honestly, it is way more fun to figure this stuff out together. And I'm building a whole crew of ads nerds in my beauty ads and funnels community. You are welcome in it anytime.